Once again, we are faced with another terrible shooting in the United States, another one at a bunch of schools. He was white, so that means he has a mental illness, and it's nothing symbolic of any larger social problem that might exist. And yes, the problem is actually getting worse. It doesn't take a genius to see that these shootings are increasing. Incidents like these are becoming far more frequent. Now, you guys know that I'm pro-gun. Basically for the same reason that any Marxist should be pro-gun, to arm the workers against the capitalist class. But can we finally acknowledge that there's a problem here? And I don't mean the liberal, there's a problem with gun violence. I mean, acknowledge that there's a problem in that there is not a gun problem. America doesn't have a gun problem. Guns have an America problem. Because I think that's what's really important here. Because guns, like a lot of things, are just an inanimate object. Americans are the variable here that create the shootings. Okay, there's something wrong with Americans. And just blaming the guns doesn't make any sense. If you dumped a bunch of guns into other countries, you wouldn't have this problem. Guns are not the main variable in this equation, it's Americans. There's something wrong with the collective American psyche. Americans are the problem. This country just keeps invading people over and over and over again. And now that's a thing about building empire. That happens. But what's very unique about the United States is that it denies that it's doing it. When the British Empire was stomping across the world, taking over everything, everybody knew that's what it was. Nobody hid it. It was empire building. Everybody knew it. That was the thing. The same thing with France, the same thing with every other country. But for some reason, when it's America that does it, somehow it's not empire building anymore, and nobody wants to admit that that's what it is. There is one gigantic psychological delusion that goes on with that country. Just something, some aspect that, you know, I don't have the formal education to describe or diagnose. There's something wrong with the American people on a very fundamental level. And I believe it's something akin to a mental illness, because that's the way it just keeps manifesting. So I'll tell you what, I think there's very few people who would disagree with the idea of not letting people with severe mental illness have a gun. I mean, I think that's pretty much an idea that everybody can share. I'm sure there's going to be some kooks out there that don't. But the point is, that's generally an agreeable thing. So here's what I propose. Send the UN into the United States, give Alex Jones a heart attack, and just confiscate every gun from the American population. And not just the regular everyday people. Take them from the cops, the military, and the government in general. Just every single gun from every single hand in the entire country. Leave not a single one behind. Nobody has a gun at all. Not even the United States government. Not the military, not the police. Nobody. And see what happens. If all of a sudden murders start dropping, then, well, we can definitely tell that maybe there was something that it had to do with the guns. If the murders continue, which I actually believe that they would, then it really wasn't the guns to begin with. But I think it's a fair thing to save the rest of the world. If the United States just can't stop murdering people, they can't even stop murdering themselves, then maybe there is something psychologically wrong with them, and we really should just take their guns away. Not in the fascist, take guns away from people and leave it in the hands of the state. Just in general, just all the guns out of America gone. That way, at least if they're going to kill people, they're just going to kill themselves. And that's their own problem to deal with. And they aren't going across the planet fucking murdering and bombing everybody else. What do you think? I think that's a good idea? I think there's something wrong with America, that we should really just take their guns away from them for their own good, because there's really something seriously wrong with them. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.